I'm the Realtor Evan, and I'm coming to you for another week of good tips about real estate. Specifically today I want to talk to the buyers that are out there, because right now we're in a seller's market. So what we're seeing these days is a lot of multiple offers on properties, which means if you're looking to buy a house and you put in an offer, you are more than likely going to be in a multiple offer situation these days, competing against other buyers to win that bid. So I'd like to talk to you today a little bit about what I think is the number one tip to win that bidding war and not even have to spend the most money and not even have to have the highest bid. So stick around, we'll talk about that. As always, love those thumbs up. Please feel free to comment any questions you might have, put it below, or you can email me at therealtorevan@gmail.com. And if you want to see these videos in the future, make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you get alerts and notifications when they come out every week. So again, going back to this situation to elaborate a little bit more, we're in the most case, for most markets, we're in what's called a seller's market, meaning that there's not enough homes for the demand that's out there with the buyers. Because we have low interest rates, there's a lot of buyers out there because they get increased purchase power. So if you're one of those buyers looking to take advantage of these low interest rates, now's a great time to buy a home. Even if you can't select from a whole lot of inventory that's not currently on the market, you can still find a great property for yourself. But you just have to be strategic in terms of how you're going to actually get that contract, because you are going to likely be bidding against other buyers for that same house. In a buyer's market, it's less common because there's so many houses out there. You probably have a pick of the litter, and as soon as you put in an offer, you'll probably get accepted because there's so many houses out there sellers just want to sell. Now you have to be a little bit more strategic. The most common way to win a bidding war is, as you guessed it, it's the price that you offer. Obviously, the more money you have, the more money you put down. Typically, now that's not always the case with every seller, but typically you will have the advantage of winning that bid, because for the most part, people, when they're selling their homes, are most concerned with how much money that they're going to get out of the sale of their home. Okay, so obviously you can win it with price, but let's say you don't have all the money in the world. Let's say you're on a fixed budget and you found the house that you love. There are other ways to win an offer. The second most common way is changing your contingencies. When you submit an offer to a seller with your price that you're willing to pay, you're also submitting contingencies that you're expecting to be able to receive from the seller in order to complete the sale. For example, one of the standard contingencies is the inspection contingency. When you're going in to buy a house, you don't really know much about the house. Certainly you've probably gone on some showings and you've seen the house. Maybe even you've gone in with a contractor or an inspector, but you really want to make sure to do your due diligence. It's in the buyer's best interest, and it's actually up to the buyer in order to do their due diligence, because it's a buyer beware situation. Houses are always sold as is. So you have certain time periods and contingency periods in which you can inspect the house. You have a contingency period typically for a loan to make sure you're going to get the loan on the house that you're putting the offer in for and you're under contract with. And you also have contingency periods on the appraisal, making sure that the value of the home is worth the loan that you're going to be getting. So those are the three most standard contingencies. Now, if you can reduce the timelines on any of those contingencies, and talk to your agent about that before you do, you also have an advantage on other buyers who are submitting bids with longer contingency times. The reason for that is, obviously, if a seller's looking to sell, in a lot of cases, they're looking to sell faster. The third most common way, and I think personally this is the best, and this is my number one tip, because this will get you the house. I've seen it time and time again. this is the strategy that wins the house, even if you don't change the contingencies, and even if you come in with the lowest offer. The best way to compete strategically for that bidding war is to make nice with the seller. And what do I mean by that? Chances are you've never met the seller at this point. Maybe you don't even know the seller's name. But most sellers, when they're selling a home, they have an emotional attachment for that house. And they therefore want to make sure that it's going to be cared for in the future. So if you cozy on up to the seller and you submit a letter documenting all of this information and telling them all about you and who you are and why you're gonna, take care of the house for them, they'd rather see that house go to somebody who is going to be caring for it and taking care of that house after they've left than somebody who maybe is an investor and going to be knocking it down to just rebuild it and resell it to somebody. So the investor might come with more money in their pockets, but you would be taking more care of the house, and that's usually something that the seller's really going to want to hear. So you can do it with a letter, you can do it maybe with a gift. If you know a little bit about the seller and you know where they're moving to, maybe you can get them a housewarming gift for their next house. So there's a lot of different options of how you can cozy on up to the seller, but definitely look for taking that advantage, because that's what's going to give you a leg up on these negotiations without actually having to spend more. So I hope that you take advantage of that tip. Certainly that'll help you in this market. The contingencies will help too. And if you have the money and you can make a more competitive offer, I highly recommend thinking about that. As always, make sure you discuss any of these approaches with your agent. I'm always happy to answer any questions you may have. Feel free to put in the comments below or email me, therealtorevan@gmail.com. You can even comment about what you think I should do with my hair after all of this coronavirus has ended and I can potentially get a haircut. So I look forward to seeing you next time, and I hope you have a good day.